Unfortunately, it's on a sad occasion. Today we said goodbye to an icon, a legend, and a lot of our childhood hero growing up, and that's one Hulk Hogan, the immortal Hulk Hogan. Unfortunately, that part wasn't true, but today we lost a legend, a man who I will say probably had the most influence over professional wrestling that I've ever witnessed, and I kind of lived during both of his heydays. I'll go into that. But today, I want to pay tribute to him. I've been very public on this channel that I did not grow up a Hulkamaniac, but what I did do is I tuned in all the time. I tuned in to see who could beat him. I tuned in to watch Saturday Night's Main Event. I tuned in to watch Monday Nitro. I tuned in to see Hulk Hogan and him perform, and that's mainly what he was. He was a entertainer, a performer. He was larger than life. He was a real life superhero. Whether you loved him and were a Hulkamaniac, or whether, like me, you watched to see if he was going to lose, but yet you appreciated his entertainment value. And now, as a 51-year-old man, I very much appreciate the contribution he did gave to one of my favorite pastimes, still at 51 years old, professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it nowadays. Anyhow, today I'm doing a special live broadcast. I've never gone live this long before, so if there's any hiccups, I apologize. What I would like to do is just briefly go over my top five Hulk Hogan action figures. Now, these are the top five Hulk Hogan action figures are the ones I own. There are several that I don't own. I really honestly don't know as any would crack my top five that I don't have. Maybe some of the way older ones, but this is out of my personal collection. There's a quick video of a lot of my collection of Hulk Hogan figures, not all of it. I think I'm up to, probably mid 30s, only behind Randy Savage and the wrestler who I have the most figures of. And yeah, so I think it's apropos that I go over the top five Hulk Hogan figures, at least my favorite ones, my opinion only. You guys can chime in what you think your favorite figures are. What your holy grail is of a Hogan figure you haven't got. Unfortunately, I think the market's going to get a little expensive now due to his death. It always tends to happen, at least at first, it spikes up. But there was so many figures hitting the market last year with the 40th anniversary of Hulkamania, and also, it's gonna probably spike again very shortly. So, anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna start really at the beginning for me, and that is the original LJN Hulk Hogan figure, complete with the belt. As you see, certainly not anywhere close to mint, but these were the figures that kids at my age started with. Big LJN ring, big rubber figures, basically no movement or mobility, had to use your imagination, but boy were they fun. Uh, just heard a story the other day that actually these were meant to be much smaller figures, but when this got sent to Vince McMahon for approval, they sent him a bigger version so he could see the detail. And Vince liked this size. I forget exactly the size they are. I think maybe 6 inches, 8 inches. I can't remember. But anyhow, the original LJN Hulk Hogan. I did not have this figure as a kid. Full disclosure, I never got this figure. Never found it in the store. I did not get this figure until I was probably in my mid 20s at a flea market. I happened to be walking by. I saw this one in a bag with the belt and everything, also with the Iron Sheik. Of course, I had to buy both of them. So yeah, this was as a kid, this was my holy grail. Again, not because I was a Hulkamaniac back then, but I sure wanted Macho Man to drop an elbow on him when I had my ring in my set. Anyhow, this is coming in at my number five Hulk Hogan figure out of my own collection, my number five favorite. So drop a comment. Who's got one? Did you like it? Did you find one when you were a kid? Did you try like heck to find one as a kid and couldn't, like me? Let me know. All right, at number four, and we're going to talk about his career as we go over these figures, but my number four figure in my collection is the Hollywood Hulk Hogan NWO Ultimate Edition from Mattel. This came out a couple years ago, and they re-released it recently. This is the original version. They put it out in a greatest hits. The only thing I like more about the greatest hits version than this one is the tan on the other one is much more realistic. I've heard it called a hot dog tan, but this figure was great, so great. In fact, I had to open it. I wish I'd have bought two, so I had one mint in box, but I didn't. But yeah, I cracked it open. I put him in the iconic pose of him playing air guitar with his belt. The NWO. Again, I lived through both of the I'll call them golden eras of the WWF professional wrestling. When first of all in '84 when Hulkamania was born, and then also in '96 when Hollywood Hulk Hogan was born. This is when he came to WCW after leaving the WWF, had a falling out with McMahon. This figure is again, love it, love the detail. You got the do rag, you got the NWO T-shirt that can be ripped, you got the title belt with the NWO, you got the blue lightning on the boots, blue and white lightning down the side of the tights, NWO belt right there. You can't deny this is a great figure, and certainly comes in at number 4 for me. And love his time as Hollywood Hogan. Again, he was the heel. You love to hate him. So let's move on to number 3. And let me know again. Let me know what you think of Hollywood Hogan and his run in the NWO. I only have a Wolfpack shirt, but he was a member of the Wolfpack briefly. So yeah, let me know what you think of NWO Hulkster. I think he saved the business again. He created the Monday Night Wars when he went to the NWO, and it made, if it weren't for Hogan's jump to the NWO, I strongly believe that Stone Cold Steve Austin probably wouldn't exist. The Rock probably would have been a little different. That gritty, realistic heel and style that Vince McMahon went to because he was watching it succeed in WCW and what Eric Bischoff did, that would not have translated into the Attitude Era and WCW eventually losing the Monday Night Wars and WWF winning and taking over. So Hollywood Hogan, again, Hulk Hogan, he started it all, and then he continued to grow the business in the late '90s. So, okay, now this is my number. Where are we at? We are at number 3. And this was hard for me to put at number 3, and you're going to see why. This is the SummerSlam '89 pack with the Mega Powers, Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage. When they wrestled Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase. So I believe it was '89. Let's read. Since I got you here, put the old man readers on here, and we'll see what it says. At Saturday night's main event on October 3rd, 1987, Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage shook hands for the first time. And who hasn't recreated that, right? The Mega Powers shake. Shook hands for the first time, creating the most powerful force in WWE history. The combination of Hulkamania and Macho Madness formed the unstoppable force of the Mega Powers. Together, these brothers, bound by handshake, conquered Andre the Giant and Million Dollar Man at SummerSlam. So what you gonna do when the madness and the mania run wild on you? Oh yeah. That means this was SummerSlam '88, I believe. So I misspoke. It wasn't '89. Um, but yeah, so this is the combo pack here. Love that Hogan figures. Get the Hulk Rules T-shirt, the headband draped over the eyes, obviously in his standard yellow and red. And of course, you got Macho Man adorned in the yellow and red too. A horrible glare, I apologize. But yeah, I still haven't figured out how to get a good camera that doesn't do that. But yeah, so as you can see, Macho Man there in the yellow tights as well with his Mega Powers robe, and you got some head scans there in there. But yeah, that was the peak of what I call the golden era, 84 to probably 91, 92, when Hogan, Macho Man, DiBiase, Andre, they were all stars. They were bigger than life, but Hogan started it all with Hulkamania, and I'll get to that too in my next couple figures. But yeah, this was peak, and they were together. I will say the Mega Powers angle for me is the greatest angle in wrestling history. It was about a year-long storytelling, slow burn. The relationship between Hulk and Macho Man, culminating, WrestleMania 4 when Macho Man won that belt, and then of course the Mega Powers exploded, and Miss Elizabeth kind of got in between, and then Macho Man and Hogan fighting at WrestleMania 5, eventually giving the belt back to Hogan at Mania 5. So yeah, again, this figure it's a package, but again, this lands at number 3. I believe I'm at number 3 on my favorite Hulk Hogan figures out of my collection. So let's move on. The number 2 spot, and this is kind of, this was a common figure. Not a lot of people snagged it up. It was before the Hulkamania 40 craze. This is from a couple years back, Hulk Hogan Ultimate Edition, and this is him in the yellow and gold. Got the Hulkamania T-shirt, but what really sold this for me is it has his first version, not the version he won from the Iron Sheik in 80. I want to say January of 84 or 85. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 85. Let me see if it's on the back of here. It says, with the power of Hulkamania and electricity of millions of screaming Hulkamaniacs on his side, there's nothing in the world that can take down the Hulkster, brother. So what you gonna do when Hulk Hogan and his 24-inch pythons run wild on you? Can't remember. I want to say it was January of 85 when he won the belt from Sheik. But anyway, this title belt, I love the Winged Eagle belt that he carried. But this title belt for me was awesome. It was very Jim Crockett-esque. If anyone familiar with Jim Crockett era NWA, they had, a television title, national title, things like that, and they all had that shape. Loved it. Used to recreate this with felt and tinfoil and cardboard. Used to make our own belts. It was awesome. But as you can see, this is Hulkamania at his zenith. This is right after he won the title. Build back here at 6'7", huge, just a huge guy. Unfortunately, as he got older, not only did he shrink, but with his back problems and surgery, he got much shorter than that. But this figure, yeah, this comes in at number 2 for me. Just an awesome ultimate figure. I shut my eyes and think of Hulk Hogan. That's what pops up. Saturday night main event era Hogan. You used to tape it and watch them over and over again. If I wasn't allowed to stay up and watch them, they came on at 10:30 at night on Saturdays. Sometimes I was allowed to watch them. Sometimes I had to tape them, watch them Sunday morning, and boy, did I rewatch them. I had a lot of the promos memorized and everything like that. So this is what I think about when I think of Hulk Hogan, coming out to Eye of the Tiger. So that's how old it was before he even used Real American. So, yeah, that is my number 2 figure in my collection. Let me know what you guys think of that. Again, these are my favorites from my collection, not necessarily my favorites of any Hogan made. I don't have everyone that ever was ever produced. Got quite a few of them. So that leads me when I was speaking about Real American versus Eye of the Tiger. This is my number 1 figure. And I know I've mentioned this one before, but this is my number 1 Hulk Hogan figure. When I saw they were making this, I could not wait to jump on this. I've got one mint in box. I got one here in my office. And this is Hulk Hogan from the Real American video. Love, love, love it. It is the biggest piece of 80s cheese that I can imagine. If aliens land on this earth and they want to know what the 80s were like, you show them this video and they will be like, yep. So yeah, obviously you got the red tights, the cowboy boots, the American guitar. Hulk Hogan was actually a guitarist. He played in a band. I believe he's a bass player, but he's got the yellow shades. He's got the cross there, the Hulkamania T-shirt. As you can see, his hair isn't quite uh, gone yet, but it slowly retracting. You got the workout gloves on, so very again 80s greatness. The tube socks there at the bottom. Man, I tell you, like I said, if aliens land on this earth and they ask, what were the 1980s like, send them to my house first of all because I'll show them. But this video of Hulk Hogan and Real American, boy, it just says it. And while I'm talking about the video, uh, 80s kids will get this, but what really tickles me is when I watch Beavis and Butthead watch this video. It is hilarious. So if you guys are looking for something to look up on YouTube to give you a laugh and you're 80s kid, look up Beavis and Butthead watching Real American. Flippin' hilarious. So that is my countdown here. Again, Real American Hulk Hogan, mid 80s version, Mega Powers, Hollywood, and then number five, and it wasn't easy to put this five, was the original LJN. And yeah, after the top five, it gets really close. So certainly could have gone a lot of different directions. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have a list? I came up with this, just kind of perusing them today as I was dealing with, you know, the happenings of losing Hulk Hogan. And honestly, I can't remember a celebrity death that's hit me this hard. Even the Macho Man, when he passed away in 2011 or 2012, I was at a different stage in my life. I guess I don't know if I didn't have, the mortality I do now, or it just was, there wasn't so much piled on. But while I'll miss Randy, I'll miss his contributions. Hulkster seemed more in front of the people lately, for good or bad, whatever people would say. But he was out there. He was part of culture still. Still moved the needle with his beer and his appearances in his Hogan's Beef Shop. So again, this one really hit me hard. I feel like I lost a family member. It sounds weird to say, but I really do feel like I lost an uncle, or and I made a joke because I got so many texts, so many messages today. Hey, checking in on you, how you're doing. Uh, Condolences for someone that I've never met, and B, no relation to me whatsoever, but everyone knows what he meant to me, and not just my childhood, but you know, growing up and showing my kids his matches and that. But it's ironic because I did lose an uncle a couple months ago, and I think I got more condolences for Hulk Hogan than when I lost my actual uncle. But yeah, again, certainly Hulk Hogan is to me the most influential professional wrestling ever. Professional wrestler ever. He had the most influence on society. He had the crossover to pulp culture. He, his appearances in Rocky 3, all the movies he made, his TV show, Thunder in Paradise, all these things, and now his beer, his name, his marketing, his stamp is on society. It will remain on society for hundreds of years, in my opinion. And again, the importance to me does not go uh, lost on me. It certainly hit me today that a huge part of my childhood passed away today. And I also know that his family, people lost a father, people lost a husband, people lost a very close friend. It's been very touching to listen to some of his peers pay tribute to him. People like Ted DiBiase, you know, people like Fred Ottman, the Typhoon. These people worked with him, knew him, and for every story you heard about how difficult he was to work with, all these people respected him, learned something from him, and or gain something from his performance, his marketability, his visibility, and everyone wanted to be on the card when Hulk Hogan was on top. So again, I appreciate his contributions to the sport that I love, to the business that I love, to my favorite pastime, and again, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Prayers and condolences for his family and for everyone who was a close friend or relative of his. He certainly will be missed, and he will be remembered, and he will always have a spot in, my man cave to the immortals, and that's what it's called. I got a sign up front. It's called the Man Cave of Immortals, and he was the immortal one. He was the immortal Hulk Hogan, and what he meant to wrestling from his main event with Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, to beating the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden, to, NWO creation at Bash of the Beach in '96. All these things shaped professional wrestling, and I won't call it sports entertainment because it's professional wrestling, but he put the entertainment in sports entertainment. He was definitely an entertainer. um, but yeah, I appreciate your contribution, Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, brother. And hey, drop a comment below if you're watching this back. Let me know what you think of the Hulkster. Please, 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 no bashing right now. If you have negative opinions, that's fine. Use your own um, platforms to voice that. I don't want to hear it when a man's family's grieving, when a man's friends are grieving. This isn't the time or place. Nobody's perfect, uh, and yes, he's had his ups and downs and his bumps, but he is human, and he is a real American. So, anyway, Big Papa Jake's out. I'll be back with some regular reviews shortly. I do have a Terry Funk to review, and apparently some of my Monday Night Wars Ted DiBiase Build-A-Figure set just got canceled, so I'm a little mad about that. And honestly, I only wanted it for the Ted DiBiase, so I might send those figures back. So I don't know what I'm going to have to open other than the Terry Funk Legends figure, but we'll be back soon with another figure opening. Otherwise, I'm gonna go watch the main event of WrestleMania 3, and then I'm gonna go watch the main event of Bash at the Beach '96 to see the two moments that really shaped professional wrestling. So, uh, Big Papa Jake is out. Deuces, oozes.